Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC, Vice President Kamala Harris will debate Donald Trump for the first and perhaps only time. And many liberals and progressives, including legendary debater Mehdi Hasan, are publicly encouraging the vice president to be ruthless. And based on a new, devastating ad that the Kamala Harris campaign just released on Fox News, she intends to take them up on their advice. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to talk about in this video. But before we do, we're actually going to skip to the end. And I want to show you this devastating 30-second ad that, according to Kamala HQ, which is the official Twitter page of the vice president's campaign, they said, "We're running this ad on Fox News this morning for no particular reason. We're going to play this ad, and then we're going to get into other clips, including a 3 to 5 minute video from Mehdi Hasan giving the vice president advice about how she should handle Trump. But first, this devastating new ad that Vice President Harris is running on Fox News this morning.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems.
Oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. America's ready for a new chapter. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So I don't know about you, but that sure looks like the vice president is taking the gloves off, even more than President Biden's campaign did. And Biden was much more ruthless in 2024 than he ever was in 2020. Okay, he even referred to Donald Trump as a loser. And at one point, even towards the end of his campaign, a rapist, which is true, which brings us to Mehdi Hasan. So I want to play against about a 4-minute video of Mehdi Hasan, who is, if nothing else, a legendary skilled debater. He's also my favorite progressive political commentator. He talks about what the vice president should do. So we're going to play this clip, and again, we'll unpack all of it. But here's Mehdi Hasan's advice on how the vice president could and should win the upcoming debate against Trump.
It's the big debate on Tuesday night, Kamala Harris versus Donald J. Trump. The last debate didn't go so well for the Dems, with Joe Biden crashing and burning live on television and having to later step aside from the race.
We have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
The Harris campaign have briefed reporters that they plan to get under Donald Trump's skin in Philadelphia on Tuesday evening, and that is exactly the right thing to do to a thin-skinned, narcissistic bully like Trump.
And as a matter of fact, again, let's think about that 30-second ad that they played on the mainstream legacy network most openly affiliated and allegiant to Trump. Sure sounds like they intend to do just that, to try to piss Trump off. But more Mehdi.
And Vice President, if you're watching, here are 5 pieces of advice from me as a debater for what you should really do to get under his skin, to bait him and throw him off balance, to expose him to the world as the petulant, bigoted man-child that he is. Number 1, remind him that he's a convicted criminal, but also that he's been found liable for rape. Yes, rape. Call him a rapist. A judge has literally said that you can indeed call him a rapist. You can say that what he did was rape. That is the word that can be used in the common parlance. And you've already publicly said that he's been found liable for sexual abuse.
And separately found liable for committing sexual abuse.
He'll lose it on the night when you say that to him, and he'll probably say more ridiculous, defamatory things like this.
But she made up a story, it fabricated 100% that I attacked her at Bergdorf Goodman.
Number 2, accuse him of being a puppet. Vladimir Putin's puppet, Xi Jinping's puppet, the oil industry and gun lobby's puppet, Elon Musk's puppet. It's all true, and he'll turn into a pissed-off child when you do it. Just ask Hillary Clinton.
Look, Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
And it's pretty clear.
You're the puppet.
It's pretty clear you won't admit
No, you're
that the
puppet.
Russians.
You're the puppet. Number 3, mock him. Mock the fascist. Mock the wannabe strongman. It's the best way to remove whatever power they think they have over you. And with Trump, there's so much to mock. Mock his intellect. Mock his garbled rhetoric. Mock his golf skills. Mock the size of his crowds. Make fun of him. He won't be able to handle a woman, a black woman, ridiculing him.
Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated me.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
Number 4, your running mate Tim Walz has called Trump and Vance weird. It works. Call him weird. You yourself have said in the past, apparently, you said in 2020 that if he tried to intimidate you on the debate stage, you'd turn around and say to him, why are you being so weird? Do it. Call him weird. This is how he feels about it.
Well, they're the weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a weird deal going on there. They're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not.
And number 5, don't let him interrupt you. And when he does, because he will, do to him what you did to Mike Pence in 2020 when Pence interrupted you.
This is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
He won't be able to handle it.
Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible. The way she treats people is horrible.
Donald Trump has gotten away with bullshitting and bullying at debates and interviews for far too long. If a veteran prosecutor can't take down the convicted felon, then who can?
Great clip from Mehdi Hasan there, and I agree with everything that he said. Now, you also have to do it, of course, in a way where you don't take the bait. The vice president has to simultaneously bait Trump relentlessly with poise and grace and sophistication and wit and humor as she is capable of. We've seen it when she, during her time in the Senate, when she would question very powerful Republican operatives, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Bill Barr, future Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, very intelligent, capable, conservative people, as awful as they are. She humiliated them one after another. She is more than capable of this. She was widely reported to have defeated Vice President Mike Pence during their one debate back in 2020. So she's more than capable of it. She has to bait Trump, a thin-skinned narcissistic bully who eagerly takes the bait. Trump is, remember, we've talked about this in multiple videos over the past several days. Trump's staff and Trump supporters are publicly sounding the alarm that they believe that Trump will fall for the verbal equivalent of like a box being propped up by a stick and a candy bar like you see in cartoons all the time, in Looney Tunes when they bait Elmer Fudd or whatever, right? Just like a very sloppy, very clumsy bait. She doesn't even have to be that clever about it, I suppose, because Trump will just walk into it. She should do that, but she should also not take any of his bait as well. So when he makes a racist or incendiary comment, she should not get triggered, which she won't, based on her interview with CNN when Dana Bash asked the vice president about Trump's racist, sexist comments. She just brushed it off, said, old tired playbook. Pretty silly. Let's move on. Next question. So she should be simultaneously unflappable, but cloying and taunting him every step of the way. I love that idea because, again, the 2016 clip that Mehdi provided there, it just took me back down memory lane. I can't believe, Putin doesn't have any respect for me because he only likes puppets. No, you're the puppet. I'm no puppet. And you saw his face scrunch in visible disdain. He wasn't expecting that. And he had a visceral, visible reaction. And the vice president could do even better because in 2016, Trump was much more intellectually formidable, believe it or not. That's not saying much compared to how he is in 2024, where he is even more, inclined towards just, engaging in whatever impulse drives him at the moment, which is why so many Trump supporters are freaking out. On the rapist, saying she should call him a rapist because it's true. Judge Kaplan, the presiding judge over the E. Jean Carroll sexual abuse and defamation trial, did clarify when Trump and his attorneys attempted to get the settlement reduced, and they filed a subsequent, litigation after the initial case. One of the things that Trump's attorneys complained about was this idea that Trump is a rapist, and this idea that you couldn't call him that. And the judge said, actually, no. The jury found that what Trump did in the common parlance was rape. It probably wouldn't satisfy a New York criminal violation because, unfortunately, not to get too graphic, but the New York penal law requires genital penetration as opposed to digital penetration, which is what Trump did to E. Jean Carroll. But he said, yeah, what the jury found is that Donald Trump raped E. Jean Carroll. So yes, it's perfectly fair for the vice president, whenever she feels it's appropriate or decisive or impactful, to refer to Trump as a rapist, because that's precisely what the court of law found. So yes, I love this energy. I think that the vice president should be ruthless. I think she should be relentless. I think she should absolutely attack the source of Donald Trump's so-called strength, which is this sense of self-importance. He won't laugh. He doesn't laugh. He's like, he's just the most profoundly insecure person, because like most authoritarians, he is quite fragile. He's quite narcissistic. He can't handle any criticism or satire. And that is what we have done historically to authoritarians, to fascists. Charlie Chaplin historically mocked and belittled Adolf Hitler during, the Third Reich, because he recognized that comedy was antithetical to a fascist strongman's sense of power and self-importance. So I do believe that the vice president should take up Mehdi Hasan on that advice as well. Last clip I want to play actually comes from members of the Harris campaign, top members of her communication staff, in which they pre-bunk many of the expected lies that will come from Donald Trump later on tonight.
The debate is tomorrow night, and we can count on Donald Trump lying. A lot.
How do we know? Because he always lies.
Here are the biggest lies Trump will likely say on stage.
Okay, he's gonna pretend like he's never even heard of Project 2025.
More than 130 people who work for him are involved in Project 2025. His running mate, J.D. Vance, wrote the foreword to the Project 2025 author's book. That same author was caught on hidden camera talking about Trump's support. Of course, he'll lie about his extreme record on abortion.
Not only is he responsible for dozens of abortion bans in states, his Project 2025 agenda calls for a national ban. It's right there in black and white. He's gonna lie about how he handled the economy and created jobs.
Trump left us with an unemployment rate of 6.7% in an economy that had lost 9.4 million jobs. Meanwhile, the Biden-Harris administration cleaned up his mess, bringing those 9 million jobs back and then some. More than 15 million jobs overall, all while bringing inflation down and bringing wages up.
And then he's gonna lie and say he'll protect Social Security and Medicare.
He literally tried to cut both of these programs every year he was in office as president. He might even try to say he's responsible for $35 insulin.
Which is ridiculous because he is not. Vice President Harris literally cast the tie-breaking vote for the bill that did that, and President Biden literally signed it into law, bringing insulin prices down to $35 for those on Medicare. We all saw this happen on video. And no, Donald, it was not AI. He'll lie and blame Kamala Harris for the border.
Donald Trump is the guy who entered the chat and blew up the bipartisan border security bill. And he said out loud, blame me, because he thought it'd help him politically. When she's president, Vice President Harris is signing it into law. Now he'll say the vice president wants to defund the police.
Vice President Harris cast the tie-breaking vote on the largest federal investment in fighting crime and public safety ever, and Republicans voted against it. She's a prosecutor, and she's taken on criminals and transnational gangs. Now, Donald Trump has never been good at budgeting, but his budgets repeatedly cut funding for police. And when he was president, homicide went up 30% from 2019 to 2020. And look, if I were a convicted felon, I'd want to cut police funding too.
Bottom line, Trump's a liar, and the American people deserve better.
They deserve a new way forward, and that is exactly what Vice President Harris is offering.
Great video, a great pre-bunking effort. I hope to see more viral baits and viral pre-bunking over the course of the next 12 hours or so. But yes, it was a masterclass performance. I think that Vice President Harris should absolutely take Mehdi Hasan's advice. I think that she is off to a great start by trolling Donald Trump so ruthlessly with this brutal ad on Fox News. And in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.